I'm back to take a look at some more video nasties. I mean, that's always fun, isn't it? And like I said at the end of the previous part, in this video we're gonna have quite some familiar titles. But that's not how we're gonna start this video, because first up we have I Miss You, Hugs and Kisses. And you know, that sounds quite sweet and innocent for a list where we've become used to titles like Gestapo's Last Orgy, Women Behind Bars, and Prisoner of the Cannibal God. Well, it's also known as Left for Dead or Drop Dead Dearest. I know that sounds a little more exploitive, but still, what to expect? Well, let's see and find out. Definitely the biggest oddball on the whole video nasties list. This movie,
I Miss You, Hugs and Kisses.
It's basically just a courtroom drama where we see the story in flashbacks through the testimonies of characters involved in a murder case where a millionaire is accused for the murder of his model wife. And it's all based on a true story. Something we're reminded of some 7 minutes into the movie with this disclaimer. It's so weird. It really pops out super randomly out of nowhere, and it claims that the circumstances and characters have been deliberately and extensively altered. Which is bullshit. Because if you read into the case really only just a little bit, you'll realize that they follow it close enough to call bullshit on the fact that any resemblance blah 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 is pure coincidental. So, while the story isn't even that bad, really in all honesty, after a rusty start, I kinda got into the movie and, you know, enjoyed it for what it is. But still, the movie itself isn't all that great. It's quite confusing because of all the time jumps and different perspectives that tell the story, and the ending will leave you most likely 100% unsatisfied. It really feels like just a formulaic, made-for-TV whodunit movie that has no business being on the video nasties list. I mean, yeah, sure, there's some brief nudity, some unnecessarily graphic, hypothetical beatings towards the end, and at one point, out of nowhere, an escaped lunatic stabs and rapes a teenage girl. I can imagine that I didn't like that too much, you know, seeing that the DPP got offended by, well, literally everything. But still, if anything, in a way they gave this movie a status of immortality, since I really believe it would have been long forgotten had this movie not received the video nasty stamp. But hey, one cool thing, it's the first movie that composer Howard Shore worked on. You know, before he started his lifetime collaboration with David Cronenberg and his work on the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogy. That's cool, I guess. The movie itself, well, if you don't think of it as a video nasty, it's honestly not even half that bad. I mean, it's watchable, that's something. But it's not what we're checking out this video nasties list for. So let's just continue to the next movie, because really for this one, it's not that hard to figure out why it was on the list. I Spit on Your Grave. And, you know, I'm gonna be a little bit short about this one because in all honesty I've talked about this like a million times already. But hey, it's a video nasty as well, so let's do it one more time. The 70s. An era where everybody was enjoying a good old rape and revenge movie, and where one of the most infamous entries came towards the end of the decade. And we all know the story. Big city girl rents out a remote cabin in the middle of nowhere to write a novel, but gets assaulted and raped by a bunch of local lowlifes. And after that, she gets back at them. It's a classic tale of rape and revenge. I mean, it doesn't get more rape and revengey than this. And this one, it's quite infamous. And it might not even be the graphic depiction of the rape that's responsible, but more so the length. It really just goes on and on and on, and she's screaming and screaming and screaming. That's perhaps what made it so hard to watch. Heck, to this day it's still kinda hard to watch. The revenge part has always been a little unsatisfying for me, although the top scene is kinda classic, I'd say. And if you want, you can see it as a female empowerment movie. I mean, the original title was Day of the Woman. So yeah, you can go and do that. But still, in the end, I'd say it's just a mean piece of exploitation cinema. Still, it stays funny how, you know, back in the early 80s, this movie caused like massive uproars and oh no. And then some 30 years later, we get a fancy remake and a sequel to that remake. How times change, right? But yeah, if you want to hear me talk a little bit more about this movie, check out the second Disturbing Movies video, or the top 65 Disturbing Movies video, or the 100 Most Disturbing Movies video. See, I talk about it all the time. So, next up, another movie I've already talked about, but, you know, a long time ago. Inferno. By the legendary Dario Argento, of course. I've covered this movie over 3 years ago, and I remember it very well. It was a cold winter day when the central heating wasn't working. You know, that's why I'm wearing a jacket inside. The cap, however, well, I don't know what's going on with that, though. Anyway, let's take a look. Like I said, a movie by Dario Argento, but it's almost just as much a Mario Bava movie, since he worked completely uncredited a lot of different jobs on this movie. So, while I sometimes complain about nonsensical plots, most recently while talking about The Lords of Salem, with Argento I won't complain about this since it's almost a given going into his movies. In the old video I did, I said it pretty accurately, I'd say, when describing this movie as a weird dream that you only vaguely remember. It has to do with the legend of the three mothers, or sisters, or witches, who live across the world, and we follow this girl who happens to live in one of the mothers' building. And then all kinds of crazy shit happens. But I can't complain about this too much, since this movie is just a treat to watch. You get beautiful women and, well, this guy with a creepy mustache. And the lighting and cinematography in combination with the production and set design, it looks beautifully surreal with almost no normally lit room or location in the whole movie. So really, you're just watching this movie while all this random shit is going on. Including some killings, which are probably responsible for this movie's place on the Video Nasties list, even though they aren't that gory or gruesome. I don't even want to spend too much words on this one. Without trying to sound pretentious, it's more a movie that you experience rather than a movie that you just watch. Like the cellar scene early on in the movie. I don't know, yeah, I love it. It just looks amazing. What I'm trying to say is, you know, if you have it already, just give it a chance. It's a great experience. It runs a little too long for me. I mean, 90 minutes would have been just fine. But besides that, yeah, it's great. Yes, cool stuff. So if you really want to hear me talk a little bit more about this movie, you can always go out and check out that old video. It's so weird, you know, like I often don't even like a lot of my old videos. But this one, you know, it's not too bad. And hey, at least it's in English, so if you really want to. But first, we're going from some, you know, rather classy stuff. We're going over into, well, it's not per se the most infamous out of all the Video Nasties, but it's definitely a movie that, you know, deserves the title of a Video Nasty. Because really, the next movie has enough nastiness going on to offend, you know, everyone. Can you guess it? Well, it's Island of Death. Ooh, you know, let's waste no time. Let's check it out. Let's see what this is all about. Island of Death. A Greek movie from 1976, not to be confused with the Spanish Who Can Kill a Child, also from 76 and also known as Island of Death. At one point it was apparently even unclear as to which of these two movies was on the official Video Nasties list. But yeah, are you ready for some murder, rape, voyeurism, adultery, incest, animal cruelty, bestiality, golden showers, homophobia and racism?
Foster? That funny nigger?
Because then I have just the movie for you. It actually starts out sweet enough, surprisingly. A British couple is on holidays on this Greek island and they're just, you know, enjoying the beautiful scenery. But it soon becomes clear that, well, mostly the guy is on a, you know, like almost God-sent mission to clean the island from sinful people. Which to him is, you know, basically everyone. Even though he's the homophobic, raping goat molester. But, you know, that's alright, I guess. So basically what we get here is a lot of murder and rape. And murder and rape and murder and rape. And that one goat fucking scene. And the golden shower. And more murder and rape. It's obviously quite low budget, and the director admits that he was only in it for the money since he saw how well the Texas Chainsaw Massacre did for such a cheap movie. But the difference, this one isn't all that great. It's really not even disturbing. It's really just the overall over-the-top exploitativeness, if that's a word, that makes it stand out, you know? It's just, it's so ridiculously over the top. Really, you have to see it to believe how this movie just goes on and on and on, way longer than you want it to go. You could read the movie as a critical take on evangelical religion, you know, if you want to. But really, in the end you should just take it with a grain, or rather a bucket of salt, and enjoy it for the piece of exploitation trash that it is. Because really, this is no Oscar-worthy material. But you know, if you like your video nasties as depraved as possible, this one is not to be missed. What did I think of it? Well, you know, it's quite watchable. It's definitely fun for what it is. I actually like the music in it quite a bit. But you know, for me it just went on a little too long. Next up, and one of my favorite things about these video nasties, well, it's not favorite at all actually, it's more remarkable, is how, you know, how great some of the titles sound and how disappointing the movies end up being. Because next up we have Killer Nun. And hey, admit it, you'd watch that, right? I would, and so I did. So let's take a look at it together now. Killer Nun. So, Killer Nun is the Video Nasties list's only entry into the nunsploitation subgenre. Because, yes, that also exists. There's literally a subgenre for everything. Again, I'm not too familiar, although I have seen the Polish Mother Joanne of the Angels and the British The Devils, which both could be classified as nunsploitation, but I feel it would be degrading to call those movies exploitation, since, you know, they're great movies. Especially The Devils, which is really one of my favorite movies. Anyway, Killer Nun follows crazy Sister Gertrude at the hospital where she works. She's undergone brain surgery, but she's afraid she's not completely healed yet, but you know, no one really believes her. So she's just acting more and more crazy, wreaking havoc among the patients in the hospital. That's not cool, Sister Gertrude. And that's all until Andy Warhol superstar Joey D'Alessandro appears as the new Doctor, who doesn't quite believe that all the deaths are just freak accidents. I shouldn't laugh at that, but come on, that's just funny. Boom! I don't know what to say about this one. It's not that gory at all. Yeah, there's some gratuitous nudity, you know, that's like mandatory in the subgenre, as well as suppressed sexuality. One day she goes out to have, you know, casual sex with a complete stranger, and it's so weird, you know, they're making out, well, you know, she seems happy about it, so it's all good, I guess. But besides that, it's really not that spectacular. It's just what you'd expect from a 70s Italian nunsploitation movie, but then less exciting. I love how they forgot to dub this part.
Pensavo di andare ad avvisare il direttore. Di questo non si preoccupi, piuttosto vada ad aiutare Lian.
Ah, grazie. That's it. I really don't know what else to say. Now I'm just stretching this review to the average of 20-something lines per movie. So, you know, let's just keep it at that. Again, and really, my standards are probably just a little low, but hey, it was watchable. I mean, I stayed awake while watching, at least for the most part of it, that is. It's just, you know, I just wish that a movie with a title like Killer Nun would have been a little more exciting, but unfortunately. But hey, maybe the last movie in today's video will make up for that. I know what's coming up, and yeah, it does. It's just, you know, like with I Spit on Your Grave, I've talked about the next movie like a million times already. Can you guess which one it is? You're right, The Last House on the Left. So yeah, let's just go through it one more time, but again, I'll be a little bit short about this one. Is that alright, guys? Thanks. The infamous Last House on the Left by first-time writer-director Wes Craven of A Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream fame, and, well, almost first-time producer Sean S. Cunningham of Friday the 13th fame. It's basically an updated 70s exploitation version of Ingmar Bergman's classic The Virgin Spring, which is an excellent movie, just, you know, less graphic rape, torture and murder. So these two teenage girls, they try to score some pot, but end up in the hands of recently escaped criminals, led by Krug, played by, of course, David Hess. They rape and torture the girls, and afterwards end up at the house of the parents of one of the girls. What are the chances? And, well, you know, since it's a rape and revenge movie, you can figure out the rest. So, what to say about this movie that hasn't been said a million times already? I mean, it's brutal. It still is. The gritty 16mm look definitely helps. I don't know, for some reason this movie just holds up a lot better than a lot of other 70s exploitation flicks. And that definitely says something about how gruesome this must have been, you know, like back in the 70s when it came out, when you saw it then for the first time. But all of this has already been said a million times already, so I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this. Check it out if you've never seen it before and, you know, you're into gritty, mean exploitation movies. In which case, I'm pretty sure you've already seen it. Or, you know, watch it if you want to see where the career of the creator of your favorite horror villain started. I wonder what he's been up to lately, actually. You know, Wes Craven? Ah, yeah, that's right. He's producing this Scream TV series for MTV. I don't know about that one, guys. But, you know, I'll probably still check it out. I mean, I love the Scream movies. Well, the first one. The fourth one wasn't that bad either, I'd say. But anyway, if you want to hear me talk a little bit more about The Last House on the Left, you know what to do. Just check out the first part of the most disturbing movies ever made video, or, you know, the top 65 or the 100 most blah blah blah. I talk about it all the time, you know. Send me a message on Facebook and I'll write you something about the movie. So, that brings us to the end of the single-digit parts of this whole Video Nasty series. But, you know, don't worry, we still have 25 more movies in 5 different parts to go, so I'm actually not quite sure what's gonna come up in the next part, so it'll be a surprise. So I hope you guys are gonna join in next time, and you know, it's gonna be cool. Have a nice day. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video or the stuff on my channel in general, please consider supporting all of that by going over to patreon.com/horrible-reviews. There's a short video on that page, just check it out, that will explain everything. By doing so, it'll make it easier for me to make more videos and, you know, crank up the quality a little bit. You see the list of people over there? They are already supporting and, you know, that's awesome. Thank you guys. If not, doesn't matter, nothing will change. I mean, I'll still try to make as many videos as possible. So thank you and see you next time.